Okay, I would quickly like to revisit the idea of graphing conic sections in polar form. I think a few videos ago, we discussed how to graph these things, but I showed you how on the X and Y axis, on the Cartesian grid. Instead, this time, I want to show you how to graph these things on the polar graph. And by the way, they make the same graph. It doesn't matter if you play here or if you play there. It's gonna make the same picture. But if I'm perfectly honest with you, I think I prefer it this way instead. So let me show you this method, okay? Because I think it's a little bit cleaner. It really is, okay? It really is. So first of all, turn that into a 1. So divide everything by 2. There we have it. And now we can clearly see what E is. The eccentricity is 5/2, which is bigger than 1. So we are playing with a hyperbola. Now let's find the value of K. This is KE, right? That's KE. So we have KE equals 5, but we know what E is. E is 5/2. That gets plugged in here. To get K alone, I multiply by the reciprocal, 2/5. Those are gone, those are gone. K equals 5/1, the 5's are gone, it's just 2. K is 2. What about the directrix? Is the directrix X or is it Y? Anytime it's cosine, it's gonna be X. Is it positive or negative? You keep the symbol, it's negative, and just copy and paste the value of K. There we have it. So that's what we have. Maybe we can start to make the graph, okay? So we remember that at the origin, you have a focus. And our directrix, which we just found, is X equals -2. So it's like somewhere here, okay? Somewhere there. And then we also know that somewhere between the directrix and the focus, you have your vertex. So my vertex, it's gonna be somewhere in between. I don't know where, but it's somewhere in between. Now here is where the strategy differs. Here is what I would recommend for this problem, graphing on a polar graph. Here is what I recommend. Here it is. I wrote it down. So in general, you want to use 4 points. I'm going to get 4 points. I'm going to throw them here. I'm going to connect the dots and walk away with an A+. So what points would I use? I have to find all the R's that correspond to these thetas. So for instance, take 0 and plug it in for theta in either equation because they're the same thing, but it's probably easier in the original. So take 0 and plug it in because remember, these are R's and these are thetas. Yes, so take 0 and plug it in for theta there. And whatever that is, put it here. Then take pi/2, plug it in for theta. Whatever it is, you put it there and so on. I'll let you do that on the calculator. I'll do it myself as well. But please remember that on your Casios, please make sure that you're in radian mode because it would be tragic if you did this with degrees. So please have it in radian mode, okay? Points that you get, let me copy and paste them on the main paper here. So let's plot these 4 points, connect the dots, and we're done. So how does this work again? We remember that this is R and this is theta. So always reset yourself pointing in this direction to the right. So open up 0 radians, so I'm like this, and then go outward -10/3. Well, since it's negative, I'm not gonna go this way, I'm gonna go that way. And how much do I shoot out? 10/3, which is like 3.33333. So go out 1, 2, 3.333, put a point there. What about this one here? So reset yourself, open up pi/2, which is like that, and then go out 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of ran out of space right there. And that's that point. Now the next one, so reset yourself, open up pi radians, open up pi, and then go out how much? 10/7, which is like 1.4, like right there. And then the last point, so reset yourself, 3 pi/2, like that. And how much do you go out? 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. So these are my 4 points. Now, what does this look like? Well, remember, this is a hyperbola. And since it's cosine, the hyperbola opens sideways. And these are your vertices. So it should look something like this. Something like that. Something like this. Okay, and this should be something like that. So it's a really tall, really steep hyperbola. But there it is. So for all these problems, always make sure that this is a 1. And then tell me E, K in the directrix. And then fill out those 4 points where you want to use these thetas. These R's will differ, but try to use these thetas. By the way, sometimes not all of these work, but the ones that do work, play with those ones. You don't need all 4, especially for the parabola. For the parabola, not all of these will work, but the ones that do work will be enough information, okay? And then you plot the points, connect the dots, and get your A.